Hi, folks. Reese here. Um, I'm I'm glad to be back. I know it's been a while, right? But I was thinking about something today, and I thought I'd bring it up with you guys because I remembered this trilogy of books that I read a while ago that I think you guys might not have heard of, and if you have, great. But if not, I wanted to go ahead and share them with you. And I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of the story too much. I mean, I might describe some things, but it it's very complex and it's been a while. I need to go back and read these. So if I don't describe these properly or accurately, I apologize in advance. I want to mainly talk about what I like about these books and how it applies to me as a train fan and a filmmaker. So these are the Railhead books by Philip Reeve, who wrote the Mortal Engines series. The main thing that I can tell you about on the book basically says the Great Network is an ancient web of routes and gates where sentient trains can take you anywhere in the galaxy in the blink of an eye. That's your pitch right there. And that right there tells you everything you need to know about the Railhead trilogy and everything that happens in there. Sentient trains play a big part in it. And when I heard that, I had to get these books because basically it takes the concept of talking trains and throws them in a young adult sci-fi setting. There's androids, aliens, bu- robotic bugs, all kinds of crazy stuff, and avatars that are against reality. They're core to the network, I guess, and they're trying to. I don't know if they're trying to rule or anything, but they're trying to keep people in line. And all these things happen basically in the first book. A young man is basically hired to steal something for somebody else, and he ends up getting caught in this crazy situation. Like a royal train crashes and an emperor dies and his daughter wants him dead and things like that. And it's like, oh my gosh, it just goes off the rails from there, no pun intended, but it it goes crazy. What I love about these books is like how they tied in talking trains in this sci-fi set. It's almost like Thomas meets Star Wars in a way. That's the best way I can describe it, but maybe there's another sci-fi, maybe Star Trek would be a better description. Thomas meets Star Trek or Star Wars, something like that, because it's about travel, it's about heists and action, sci-fi, talking trains being funny and all that stuff, and it's just really, really cool. If you like that kind of thing, if you like sci-fi, I definitely recommend these books. I will say, though, the sequels, Blacklight Express and Station Zero, that's kind of where things get a little convoluted because they introduce aliens and they introduce alien trains, which are basically sentient creatures that roll around on wheels, and it gets a little weird. And the bad guys in the second book do something very horrifying to one of these alien trains that I don't want to spoil, but they're crazy and it's not great. Now, as far as the talking trains go, I want to talk about three in particular that played roles in these books. The main train is called Damask Rose. She's a bright red classic train. Now, the books don't specify what these trains run on. All it says is fuel. Now, I don't know if that's diesel, electric, hydrogen, steam. It could be anything. It doesn't specify, but I'm assuming they're trying to make bullet trains and things like that. And I'm personally tired of bullet trains, but I've seen fan art and things of the trains in some places, especially of Damask Rose, the main train. And it's I wish I could see more fan art of these things, but of these characters, but it's a shame because these books are not that well known, and while they're not perfect, they are very entertaining, especially if you grew up with Thomas and stuff like that. They even throw a Thomas reference in the first book. And then book 3 gets really confusing um because a supporting character, he's one of the avatars that runs the network, and they're like, It's like, hey, you made a mess helping these people. You need to go clean it up. And that's why he becomes one of the antagonists of the third book, is simply because he was told to do what he had to do. And it's like, wait a second, why are you betraying people like that? But then again, he wasn't attached to them, so who knows? But yeah, um, I definitely think that these are a great trilogy. Or maybe you just want to read the first one, and if read the first one, and if it intrigues you, go ahead and read the sequels. But Damask Rose. Let's get back to the talking trains. So Damask Rose. If there was a Thomas character I had to compare her to, probably Daisy, because Damask Rose has that snobbish. She's she's female, and she has this snobbish personality that reminded me a lot of Daisy, and she's said to be a classic engine. I don't know if that means like a diesel engine or an older electric engine or even a steam engine. I don't know. Like I said, these books don't specify the type of trains. They just say, oh, they're older or they're younger. Then you got a private train called the Thought Fox, who's one of the main villains of the first book. He's like the secondary villain because he belongs to somebody that hired the main character, and he's you thought Diesel 10 was a nasty character. Oh, you don't know. You haven't met Thought Fox because Thought Fox is an evil SOB. Like, he does something very horrifying to one of the main characters that it's like, oh boy. Like, you thought Diesel 10 was bad. Thought Fox is worse. But yeah, that's what I like about this character. And then the second book introduces an armored military train called Ghost Wolf. He's the edgy edge lord badass that's like, don't talk to me. Or it's like, you don't know what I've been through. And he's a really interesting character. He's fun. And like he ends up teaming up with Damask Rose on and the main characters on their adventures, and it's just really cool. They're there's one of the characters is an android that paints the trains, graffiti on the trains, and the trains like to be painted with graffiti because it helps them stand out. It gives them a personality. Or I shouldn't say that, but it lets their personality out and it gives them a good look. Yes. Like you know how the trains like new coats of paint and Thomas, well, here they like getting painted with graffiti and they think it's very distinguished and they love it. So, like I said, yes, it does get convoluted in some places and maybe you will enjoy it more because like I said, I'm very conflicted about these books because I love the concepts. And if I become a filmmaker and I make a budget, these are something I would consider adapting, but I'm not sure if I want to change anything because, I mean, if I'm criticizing something, like, should I adapt it? I don't know. Maybe I could help improve it, but I don't know. I'm not going to say that Philip Reeve is a bad author because he does a great job with these books and I'm sure Mortal Engines is a great series. I never read it, but I've heard about it and I would I'm not sure how I would feel about those, but yeah, if my thoughts aren't perfectly said and if I sound like someone that's just rolling on, these are just my personal thoughts. Like I like these books. And yes, there are some issues that I have, but and maybe those contributed to why they're not that popular. But if you love talking trains and you want something a little more mature, the Railhead trilogy is definitely something worth checking out, at least the first book. And if you like it and you want to get the others, then I would definitely recommend that. Um, because it's not just about the trains, it's about computer avatars that act like Greek gods. And you've got androids and bug people and aliens and stuff like that. It's in futuristic civilizations, and it's really, really cool. There are some progressive themes that are spread throughout the book that are planted in there, like the android is gender fluid and all that. So if that bothers you, maybe stay away from the book, but that didn't bother me at all. And I'm like, yeah, I don't care. I'm not a political person, or I try not to be, so I'm like, it's whatever. Um, but yeah, I definitely recommend these books if you like sci-fi, you like talking trains. you grew up on Thomas. Like I said, there's a Thomas reference in the first book if you catch it. But yeah, I definitely recommend these and definitely check them out.